loss-making startup is leading the fight to find a vaccine for COVID-19 in what has become a $2 billion race as panic spreads across the globe. Moderna is the company, a biotech group based outside of Boston. They have recently broken the record for the fastest time, 42 days, between identifying a virus, in this case COVID-19, and creating a vaccine ready to test on humans. It is now up to the US National Institutes of Health to see if it actually works. Juan Andres, a pharma industry veteran who is in charge of manufacturing at Moderna, has stated, "The pride comes from this being a race. Doing this as fast as possible is something that is a duty," adding, "I can't remember the last time my 15-year-old thought I did something cool." The Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, CEPI, who are a partnership of governments, industry and charities, formed 3 years ago with a mandate to fight emerging diseases that threaten global health, is already sponsoring 4 different COVID-19 vaccine projects, of which Moderna's is one and the one that is currently in the lead. Richard Hatchett, the chief executive of CEPI, estimates that finding the vaccine at the speed required could cost up to $2 billion over the next 12 to 18 months, the expected timeframe for success. Commenting, "We received 48 applications from all over the world following our call for proposals in February. There is a real sense of urgency because the threat we are facing is unprecedented in the last 100 years in terms of its speed and potential severity." Work on finding the vaccine began in January when Chinese scientists published online the genome of the coronavirus, all 30,000 biochemical letters of its genetic code. Anthony Fauci, head of the US National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, notes, "Instead of trying to develop a vaccine for a pathogen, which is kind of tough, you have to try to develop platform technology to facilitate rapid development of vaccines." Moderna have this platform in place. By early February, the company's scientists had been able to manufacture several doses of clinical-grade vaccine, enough for the NIH's first trials in healthy volunteers scheduled for April. After the initial safety trial, there must then be a larger clinical trial to test efficacy, hence the reason for the 12 to 18-month timeframe. Whilst it looks like Moderna will be the first to test on humans, they are by no means the only ones in the race. Big pharma names, including Johnson & Johnson and Sanofi, are busy working on their own vaccines, as well as individual doctors and academics around the world. Genetic sequencing and new structural biology tools have made it easier for scientists to create their own synthetic versions of viruses rather than wait to be sent a sample. Whilst this does sound slightly concerning in itself, it has opened up the playing field, bringing in more people to think about the problem in different ways, not limited to having to grow the virus in a particular lab. Interestingly, finding and developing a successful vaccine for COVID-19 does not necessarily translate to long-term financial gain for the company that discovers it, hence the need for additional public funding. Part of the drive, therefore, becomes a mixture of corporate social responsibility, as well as the excitement in meeting a scientific challenge. Several companies have lost money over vaccines developed for past outbreaks, including Ebola and SARS, that were nearly over before the products were ready. With the element of public funding, it becomes imperative that the vaccine must be made available to all. A point made clear by Illinois Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, noting, "If we manage to find, at taxpayer expense, some treatment or cure through a vaccine, we need to be able to afford it everywhere. It should not be turned over to private pharma companies."